Let's unmute the mic and we'll start this over again. Hey everybody, welcome once again to a market close. It's been a little bit of a red day on the market, and I'm just going to adjust this camera a little bit there, get that side light out of the way. It's been a little bit of a red day on the market. It hasn't been it's not been super red. It is more or less I'm going to call it flat. Between yesterday and today, I'm calling these days a little on the flat side because that's what it has been. But the big news is with, well, the coin of coins, the Bitcoin. Holy banana bread. Have you ever seen, if you've been watching the Bitcoin charts this week, have you ever seen this amount of pumpage? I mean, we're talking a lot of pumpage. There was more pumpage on this than what a pumping truck does. I mean, we're talking moonshot to the moon, Bitcoin. Holy cow! So we're going to look at all of this tonight or this afternoon. We got the bell. We're going to do that when the market closes. Let's, of course, give me 1 second here. I have to pull up one screen here. I was running behind when I was doing the scripting for tomorrow's video, which is the 0 to 100K. So running a little bit behind on that. So I got kind of rushed into here. So a couple little screens I didn't have completely ready yet, but they're ready now. Here we go. And I'm going to bring it over here to a good old Bitcoin. Let's share this screen. Here we go. Here we go. So here is the market, first of all. So right now, the S&P 500, it is in the red. We're looking at it being down 0.25%, so just a little bit. The TSX is down as well in the red, but down just a little bit, 0.36%. So it's not a deep red day. There are winners, there are losers. We'll see that in a moment when we take a look at the good old heat map. But before we do that, look at this. Bitcoin today, up 5.14%. Now you're looking, this is the Bitcoin chart right here. And this is really interesting. Last night, before the market closed, I had built this I was doing a little bit of TA, and I was going, yeah, you know what? Overnight, Bitcoin's going to break out. It's going to get to 5,800. Yeah, it did. And then it jumped to 5,900. And then, holy banana bread, right through the 60,000. Then it jumped up to 62, and it peaked. This was an odd hour. It peaked all the way up. This was actually at lunchtime. It went all the way up to 64,000, and then it went all the way down to 58. So this was just a crazy hour. Now this correction right here that we're getting right now, nothing to worry about. This is actually healthy. If we didn't get this, whoa, what did I just do? Anyway, all right. If we didn't get this, I know what I did. Let's go this way here. There we go. If we didn't get this correction, I would be a little bit concerned about whether or not we're going to be able to challenge for that all-time high. So we'll have to see later in the week if that is something that happens. I did do a poll, and let me pull up this poll on my main page. I asked everybody today. I dropped it. I said, with Bitcoin breaking that 60K mark, do you think there's a new all-time high this week? And only 54% said yes. 7% said no. What about the rest? Well, 17% of you guys said, I still think it's a scam. 17% also said, I don't care. Either way is fine. And 6% they just wanted to see the results. So they weren't committing to how they felt. They only wanted to see those results. So not too bad. Now, we only had about 54 votes, and there'll be more votes as that come in. Like I said, I just dropped that earlier today. So that's kind of interesting. Let's take a very quick look here before we get to chat. And chat is blowing up. So we got to get to chat here in a second. Let's take a look at the heat maps really quickly for the day. So here is Canada. So the TSX, we got a lot of red. Here's an interesting thing. A lot of the banks are in the red today. Except for National Bank. Now, National Bank, their earnings came out. They exceeded their earnings. They had a good earnings call. And they're up 2.42%. Bank of Nova Scotia's down. Now, their earnings came out yesterday. They also had a pretty good day. but they are down today. Shopify's down. There's not a lot of stuff in the green. Well, you got QSR. A Dollarama is in the green. Oh, everybody wants me to say it. Alimentation Couche-Tard, they're down negative 1.6%. Whoa, my mouse is being very sensitive today. Let's take a look at the US. US, same idea. Most of the tech stocks are down. We can see Google down, Meta down, Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Amazon. Well, Amazon is kind of close to being down. All right, let's go to a place where a lot more green lives, and that is over in crypto. You'll see Bitcoin up 5.44%. Ethereum is up 1.38%. Solana's up. Look at this. Look at this. Dogecoin is up 18.21%. Did Elon say something? And I don't know what this one here is. Oh, Ton USD is also up 14%. So yeah, there's a lot of green, but there's also a lot of red in the crypto market. Like things like good old Polkadot is down. So that is all fun and dandy. All right, let's remove this so I can get to the chat. We'll see if we can get caught up here with the chat before, of course, we have the bell. All right, Vic is here. Let's see. Vic says, anchor my Wednesday and Sunday with these streams. There we go. There we go. You are officially anchored, my friend. Verena is in the house, and we got Jordan. Jordan's here. Hello, Jordan. It is so good to see you. And yeah, Bitcoin, holy banana bread. What can we say? Stan says hello, and more hellos from Verena. Let's see. Vic says, we need a breather. We need a breather. Maybe. There we go. There, I took my breather. Paul says, hi, back to my course in 5 minutes. Okay, well, good luck with your course. Vanita's in the house. Hi, Candace. Hope you've been having a great day. Thanks for showing up again. Where else am I going to be? It's a Wednesday. It's a market close. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Now, speaking of the world, we got possible thunderstorms coming this way. The sky outside doesn't look very great. So if something weird happens and I just vanish, it's probably due to the storms. It is pretty windy out there, but most of our power lines are all underground. So I'm going to be confident. It would be cool if we had some thunder and lightning and you guys could see the room flashing up and everything without losing power. So that would be best bet. So we'll see if that happens during the stream. Who knows? All right, we have Carol in the house with a howdy, everyone. Vic says, I want October 2023 lows to buy. Yeah, I hear ya. I hear ya. Let's see. J-Rock is in the house. Lots of millionaires made today with BTC and ETH. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I made a swing trade last night on BTCC. And I'll tell you, it was a good little swing trade because I got in at like, I think it was $11.10, so $11.10. And this morning when I came in, it was worth $11.70. The only thing I was sorry for is I was like, why didn't I go in more? I should have went in more. But, you know, you got to take a profit whenever you get them. That's for sure. Paul says, whale games. Maybe we got some whale games with stuff going on the market. There's a lot of theories about what's happening with Bitcoin, and we'll talk about that after the bell. So I think that's going to be kind of cool. Let's see. Verena says, I have my Bitcoin bags and DCA still today. Nice, nice. Perlovia says, hey, y'all. Hope your trade day was as great as mine. So, it sounds like you have a story to tell, Perlovia. Ian says, do you think Bitcoin mining outruns Bitcoins being lost? Maybe it happens less often now than they have cost so much. Okay, right now, Bitcoin miners and the amount of Bitcoin being produced by mining is less than the Bitcoin that's currently being used up. And when I say used up, we're talking, just think about institutional stuff like all of these owners and managers of all these Bitcoin ETFs and what they're gobbling up. So more Bitcoin right now is being gobbled up than produced. And that's part of the reason for what we're seeing right now when it comes to the price. Vic says, Webull going public via SPAC. Ticker is SKGR or something like that. Cool, cool. And change the spares in the house with a hello, folks. Paul says, let's see, was temporarily up 1,200 today, now up 65. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, you're probably because of that correction we're getting right now. I'm thinking. Biz Markey says, watching from work, don't tell the boss. I will not. My lips are sealed. I will not tell your boss. If you give me your boss's information, I'll even block them from the stream so they can't see you. That's because I care that much. Vic says, small power outages in northern Alberta must be Bitcoin miners to blame. Oh, sure. Let's blame the Bitcoin miners. Why not? Absolutely. So on that BTCC swing, how many stocks did you move? How many? I think I had about 1,000 shares. I could have doubled it. Sometimes I do but I won't do that in an overnight. When I'm actually doing a swing overnight, I don't like to go too heavy. But sometimes in the day, I might go a little bit heavier just because I get a good idea what's going on. But I'll tell you, one of the things about this pump in Bitcoin has been that it's been defying TA. So, for example, when you saw that little TA I did from last night, I was expecting Bitcoin around 5,800 58,000. Sorry, when I get up this morning, I was not expecting us to break 60,000. So, Bitcoin has been sort of really, really going beyond what we think it should be doing, and it's not. I think it's that we're in a different situation. So a lot of times when we look at Bitcoin, a lot of people will look to the past. They'll say, this is what happens before a halving. This is what happens after a halving. So we have our general idea of what's happened in the past. But it's different this time. And normally when somebody says it's different this time, it's like, yeah, right. No, it's not. But this time it actually is. And that's because of all of these ETFs that have come into the game. So these ETFs are definitely causing a little bit of an issue. And when I say an issue, it's a good issue, but they're gobbling up a lot of Bitcoin. Now, initially, when they came in, we did see Bitcoin go up and then come right back down really fast. And a lot of that was because basically it was all about fee structure. So Grayscale had higher fees, and they had a lot of people as well coming out of the Bitcoin fund that they had before who wanted to move into some of the cheaper managed Bitcoin ETFs. So you had a huge outflow that came out of Grayscale, but then they were gobbled up by the other ones, but that did cause quite a mess. But now we're at a point where things are being gobbled up. A lot of people are adding Bitcoin. Even Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, they gobbled up a bunch of Bitcoin this week. All of the ETFs are gobbling up Bitcoin. So that's one of the reasons that we're getting such a huge price. And don't mind me if it looks like I'm looking off to the side. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like determined to not miss that bell. I think I have just enough time to do the Starbucks thing. Hello, Starbucks. Would you sponsor me, please? I'm drinking out of your cup. That is very good. Very, very good. Hopefully they listen to me this time. We'll have to see. All right. Oh, I was about to grab. It's like 3:58. All right, here we go. J-Rock says, do we know what day in April is the BTC halving? No, we don't. We have an approximation because basically it comes to once we reach a specific point in the blocks that have been solved, that determines when the halving happens. And right now it's predicted April, and it's probably going to be April. Now, let me throw a caveat at you. Let's say a whole bunch of new Bitcoin miners, like a ton of them, came on board all of a sudden, that will push that date closer. Or if a whole bunch of miners just decided, I'm not doing it anymore, and shut down, that would push the date further away. But right now, with what's happening and what the average that we do currently have, it is definitely April. So, we're all looking forward to that. Vic says, so you made $700 in profit. Not bad. You can't turn your back at any profit. You know what? Here, I would rather walk away with $1 in profit than any loss, for sure. There are people though that's like, oh well, that's not enough for me to take. I'm not like that. I'm like, I'll take whatever's thrown my way. Verena says, do you think that Bitcoin will hit an all-time high before the halving? Yes, I do. It could even happen. Oh, it could even happen this week. Here we go. The market is closed. Awesome. Oh, I can't believe I got distracted. I was like riveting. I was only about 20 seconds late. I was only 20 seconds. Now, if I actually ran the TSX, that would mean everybody would get an extra 20 seconds of trading, right? So that would be kind of good. And I love here what J Rock says. I believe BTC hit all-time high in Canadian today with the exchange. Yeah, Bitcoin has hit all-time highs in a lot of different countries, including Canada. So right now we are at the all-time high in Canada. Not too shabby. And here's the thing. You guys have probably heard me talk about my mom and the good old Bitcoin. So she bought some close to all-time highs last time, and then she's been complaining to me for a long time, like, oh my God, it's going to zero. I'm losing my money. Now, keep in mind, my mom maybe put $500 into Bitcoin. So we're not talking a lot of money. But you know, when you're coming from your mom, it sounds like it's a calamity. And she's been going on and on and on about it. And now I'm kind of like, well, guess what? It didn't, it's back in the green. And now she's like, oh, finally, I can get my money back. Do you think I really should, though? And I'm like, no, I don't think you should at all. So, you know, I told her, stay in for the rest of the year. And I even said, look, you know, just trust me. I will let you know when it is time to get out. And for my mom, I figure after the halving and after we do get the pump on the other side of that, that'll probably be the best time for her. And she'll be happy as a clam. Although she's afraid, she will not, I'm not allowed to tell anybody that my mom owns Bitcoin. She does not want anybody to know. So that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny, but that's my mom for you. Yeah, ring the bell, ring the bell. All right, whoops. Let me give me 1 second here. Here we go. Let's take a quick gander at where we finished for the day. There we go. There it is. Okay, so once again, it did finish red, both markets, TSX red, S&P 500 red. Both of them are pretty much, it's not that far into the red. So I'm still gonna call it a flat day. So we officially finished some flat days on the market. Bitcoin was up, of course, gold up a little bit, oil down a little bit. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. When we look on, and let's actually take a look at the, this is our watch list, the ones that you guys have asked me to put on here. Let's see who the big winner was today. Not a lot of big winners, but MKL, 1.94%. HMM starting to pick back up a little bit, so 0.76%. Costco up a tiny bit. Our biggest loser of the day, SPH. So Cipher Pharmaceuticals way down, 5.51%. Even EQ Bank came down. Interesting. Now they have, I believe their earnings are coming out, well, probably right about now. So we'll have to see. I actually expected their earnings to be a little bit on the bullish side. Now they did have a good beginning of the day, because I did have a small swing on EQB. Actually, I had it in my RRSP. I moved a bunch of stuff into EQB. I rode it up about $2, and then I got out of it, only because I wanted to do another swing with Bitcoin over there. But yeah, so interesting. All right. And Carol says, what can you actually buy with Bitcoin? If you're buying stuff with Bitcoin, you're probably doing it wrong. I will point that out right now, because I see Bitcoin, there's always that argument. What is Bitcoin? Is it a currency? Well, no, it's not really. You shouldn't be buying your everyday stuff. I mean, imagine those guys who spent like 2,000 Bitcoin on pizza back in the early day. Holy cow. So yeah, you don't want to buy stuff with it. It's more of a store of value. At least that's where the direction it's moving in. Where it is good is, let's say, for example, you want to make a money transfer to another country. So instead of paying all of those fees, you can do it with Bitcoin nice and easily and instantaneously. You just move it to the other wallet. So look at it that way, as an investment that's a store of value. Now there are, like, you can get there are different cards that you can sort of set up with Bitcoin. There are, if you go to Toronto, they have actual Bitcoin machines where you can pull Bitcoin out and it will give you the cash for it. So you can do it. El Salvador, Bitcoin is one of their official currencies for the country. So just to give you an idea, but I don't see, I always see Bitcoin as being that store of value that you're not really going to spend it. Or, you know, they're probably will eventually have, you'll probably eventually even have a Canadian dollar sort of a digital currency based off of the Canadian dollar that would be run by the government. And in a case like that, you would store your money in Bitcoin, and let it grow. And then when you need money to spend, you could pull it a little bit out of the Bitcoin, turn it into, say, Canadian dollars and spend that. So I would be a little bit more on that. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Amazon stock? I mean, I like Amazon. I haven't looked at them today. Let's take a quick gander and see if Amazon has got anything going on here. There we go. We have this one up. We'll pull it up here. Amazon. Let's add it. No, I just added it to the watch list by mistake, but all right. So let's take a look here. So yeah, look at them. They're going pretty. They're basically going pretty flat. Like you can probably TA this. Like there is probably. Let's just take a quick gander here. And let's see here. We'll come from here. So yeah, it looks like they definitely have a shape in here. Now, if they were to break up from here, yeah, we'll come in here like that. And let's see, if they were to break up, you could have a move up to 178. If they break down, you're looking at, well, you wouldn't get, I don't think you'd get too far down because these here lines here, these are the moving averages. So they do act a little bit like support. So you may get a bounce off of it, sort of like here when it came down, it bounced off. So you will see that happen. But this could also keep going for a little bit longer. Now, I just quickly drew this as well. I would probably want to play with it and make sure that it actually makes sense here. But that's just sort of a quick little thing. So we'll have to see. I think if tech has a good week, at least finishes in a good week or moves into a good March, we'll probably then see it to the upside, hopefully. So anyway, that's my thoughts on good old Amazon. All right, let's bring, didn't even realize that was up. We'll bring my big head back again. Enid is in the house. Hello, says Enid. Enid is currently on vacation. I think right now she's heading towards, oh God, I cannot even think of the word. Place in Mexico. Place in Mexico. Place with a lot of beaches. So we'll leave it at that. And for some reason, I'm thinking Capioco, but I don't know why. Or, you know, anyway, that's fine. I've never been to really tropical beaches. I have, well, I've been to a beach in Florida once, but you know, it was not a sunny day, but it was a nice day. Paralovia says, put some sweetness into your life. Check out RSI, might be a great time to get in. Roger Sugar announces a 110 million equity offering to fund a portion of its sugar capacity expansion project. I do like Roger Sugar. There is a lot going on, and I think we covered a story as well on this week, a couple of weeks ago, just about some of the sugar things that are happening and some of the deals happening. So I think that is probably not a bad investment, to be honest. J-Rock. Yeah, and here exactly. So the same could be said with a piece of gold. Try to pay property tax with a gold nugget. Bitcoin, like gold, needs to be exchanged for fiat currency in most cases. Yeah. Although there are some municipalities and there are some people that, like some governments, that will accept Bitcoin as payment. And I think as Bitcoin becomes more regulated and becomes a lot more centralized, I hate to say the word centralized because it is a decentralized thing, but centralized in that, oh, wow, it's really dark out there right now. I just took a look. So I think, let me know if you guys can actually hear any of the thunder and lightning, or you can't hear the lightning, but if you can hear the thunder, let me know. I heard a little bit. It's still off in the distance a bit, but it is happening. All right. Verena says, Candace, why does the time frame that shows under the candlesticks on a chart show a time in the future? Example, 1 hour time frame shows 18, 19, 20. Yeah. Oh, basically, it's it's sort of standardized. So when it says 1830, so right now, for example, this moment right now, it says 2030. So I think that is England or something like that. I don't know if they're using Greenwich time, but they use one time zone. And so it's off by, depending on which time zone you are here, it's off by a little bit. So in my case, I'm looking at 2030. You'd still see 2030, but in my case, 2030 means that it's off by about, what is that? 4 hours. So yeah, it must be England, but that's why. It's fine. I think the first time I noticed that, I was just like, oh, that's odd. I don't know why that is off so much, but it was. So that was fine. Hello, Starbucks, once again. I do love that coffee. Exactly. So that's kind of what's been going on. All right, let's do something here. Give me a second. Gonna bring this back up. We're gonna go back here to we will go to, all right. I want to head back to Bitcoin for the moment. All right. And we're going to go from, right now we're on the 1 hour. I'm going to take us to the 4-hour list. There we go. All right, let's bring things in a little bit. Playing along a little bit. We're going to get ourselves a nice big chart here. Oh, I'm going to get rid of that. Don't need that. All right, let's come back. All right. All right. All right, here we go. And I'm going to even go to, I'm going to go to the 1 day. All right, there we go. And just going to compress this a little bit so it looks a little bit better. Here we go. All right, so this here is, most people, I think, depending on when you guys started in, but as you can see right now, this is back in 2020. This is 2021. So back in 2021, that's when we had that crypto going crazy. And it did. It went absolute crazy. And we had an all-time high, a huge crash, but we made it right back up. And then we had the big crash, and this is where everybody thought Bitcoin was going to, going to places a little bit on the low side. But here's the interesting thing. I want to kind of show you something here. All right. We'll use this yellow, and I'm going to make it thicker. Let me see here. There we go. We'll just go with it nice and thick so you guys can sort of see it. So when you look at kind of the overall pattern of Bitcoin, ooh, can you hear that thunder? I heard that. When you look at the overall pattern of Bitcoin, these two giant all-time highs, they really, really stand out. And I've talked about this before, but what happened? Why was there so much money flowing into Bitcoin? Well, that was because we had this little thing back here called the pandemic. And these were all of that support. So all that money the governments were giving out for free, people were gobbling it up like crazy. And a lot of it made it into the markets. So we ended up seeing these big, massive, I guess we'll call it twin peaks. I suppose that's a good name for it. And that's kind of the interesting thing. But when you actually look, so if we got rid of all of the support that came into the market, it sort of shows that these are kind of like aberrations. So these here, once all that money is now gone, but now we get to today, and all of a sudden, we've got this happening right here. It's going crazy up. Now, what is happening here? Obviously, this was a ton of money coming into Bitcoin. And this was basically, between Bitcoin, same thing. All of that money coming into Bitcoin because of the pandemic. Now we're at a point where we got the ETFs that came out. So the spot Bitcoin ETFs in the US, we've had them in Canada for a while, but that has put a lot of money into Bitcoin. And that's where we are going. And you can see right now, look at this. We peaked up to basically 64 right here, if you can see that top dotted line. So we have come very, very close to making up where those have been. So that we don't have very much to go. And that's one of these things. That's why, I think we're going to hit it. But where does that mean? It doesn't mean like, I just want to be very clear here. If I come back to here and just sort of look at this way here, it doesn't mean we're going to continue in this direction. I mean, if we did, holy banana bread. If we continued exactly as we are right now, you're looking at 100,000 by April. That's not going to happen. I just want to point that out. It will absolutely not happen at all. What we're probably going to see is just some movement up. Even right now, as I said, we are getting we're getting a correction. So let's come back to current time here. We'll go back to the 1 hour, and I'm going to get rid of this giant line. We'll get rid of these big lines I created for this. All right, let me make things a little bit bigger. All right. There we go. And we'll do this just to filter out this line a little bit. There we go. All right, so now here's what we have. If you look up on the top, we got this pink line up here. That is, well, that line is at 68,770. Well, actually, it's right on the 779, which is where the all-time high is. That's all we got to do. That's it. A tiny little bop up here, and we will be at an all-time high. Now, here's the interesting thing. We are having a correction here, but we're right now, it's like at 60,000. Well, 60,270 or 60,324. I think what we're going to see here is, let me just draw in. I would say that we're probably going to see a little bit of probably a little bit like this. Be nice if I could just sort of do it that way. We'll probably see it. We'll probably see ourselves come back up to here, but I would say even by tomorrow, I think we'll get back up to 64,000. And then, some sideways motion. And here's what I'm kind of thinking. I'm thinking that we're probably going to be looking at getting up there close to Thursday, Friday, if it happens. And why I'm thinking of this is there's still more buys coming in. And I've heard some rumors that Grayscale has quite a bit of buys yet to come in. That's going to push us up. So it's going to be really, really, really interesting. But anyway, that's just kind of where I'm thinking about with Bitcoin. And let's watch it. If we don't hit that all-time high, you guys can give it to me on this week. Just say, hey, we didn't hit that all-time high. What's going on? We'll go from there. So I think we're going to be in good shape. I have a really sinking feeling that we're going to hit it. Now, once we hit it, there should be selling pressure. Like ideally we should come up, maybe just peak above it and come back down and then work back up to it again. But we'll have to see how that goes. I think it's going to be pretty darn interesting. So anyway, all right, let's get rid of that. Let's get back to the chat here. Let's see here. So Carol has a question. What do you think of investing in a semiconductor ETF? Less expensive than NVDA? Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't even have to be a semiconductor ETF. I would just go with a good tech ETF, for example. That would give you, they'll give you exposure to the conductor side, and it's also going to give you exposure to like Microsoft, which is another big player when it comes to AI. So definitely, or the other option is if you're just looking to grow and you want to grow with NVIDIA, for example, you could look at the CDR. So CDR, I think, are available on the Neo exchange. These are basically just basically certified deposit receipts. So with, I think CIBC has it. So what happens is CIBC then goes out and they buy a bunch of NVIDIA, and then they issue the CDRs on what they're holding. So, you get like, let's say, for example, let's say we'll make it easy. Let's say there was say they had 100, they made it into 100 pieces, and each CDR was 1/100th. So that CDR would then cost 1/100th of the price, or whatever they set it at, depending on what, how many they have and all of that. But you basically get that share. And then as NVIDIA goes up, that share goes up because it's all reflective. It'll maintain. So if it's 1% of the NVIDIA price, then it will stay at 1%. Or if it's 17% or whatever it is, whatever it's fixed at, that's another way to do it. And if it's a dividend stock, now NVIDIA does have a dividend. It's really, really small. You'll still get the dividends as well with a CDR. So it is the same. The only disadvantage to a CDR is that you just don't have the same volume. And that doesn't affect you price-wise. It only affects you if you want to trade things fast. So in that case. Now, normally a lower volume with a stock is not the best, but keep in mind, this is not a stock. This is a certificate of, this is a certified deposit receipt. So it's completely different. The actual stock is a NVIDIA, and that's, that would be, so for example, all of your fundamentals, you do it on NVIDIA for that, and you wouldn't have to worry about that CDR. So just something to keep in mind as we do that. Okay, now tomorrow, well, not so much tomorrow. So tomorrow's Thursday. Well, maybe for channel members, as soon as I have the video done, the next 0 to 100K, that's going to come up. Oh, I wanted to mention the NVIDIA deep dive. Holy banana bread. Did I really mess that up? I put it up, and I put it up when it's done, and then the channel members can watch it right away. And then I program it to launch at 2 p.m. on Tuesday in this case. But I don't know what I did. For some reason, it actually launched at 12 a.m. I thought it launched at 2 a.m. I thought maybe I had messed up that way, but then I looked at the time and I'm like, oh no, it launched at 12 a.m. So I think I just didn't even hit the thing to set the time. I just set the date. But everybody who is not a channel member, you did get to see that one early. Unfortunately, when I do something like that, because the reason I choose, like the times I choose when I release videos, it's when people are around to watch them. Because the first thing that happens is when you release a video, Amazon sends it out to the people who are subscribed and the people who watch your stuff regularly first. And depending on how they behave, so for example, if I send it out to, if they send it out to a bunch of you guys and you guys all watch it and, devour it right away, then Amazon looks at it and says, oh, yeah, this went well with the people who like this material. Let's push it out to a bigger group of people. And this is where it pushes it out to people who are not like familiar with the channel and things like that. But here's where that mistake is costly. By pushing it out in the middle of the night when you guys are all asleep, nobody watches it, right? Like a few people did, obviously. Like I was actually surprised. Like I think it got about 100 hits through the night, but I was like, the whole thing to YouTube basically looked at that and said, huh, people aren't watching this as much as normal. It's like the click-through rate is good, but people just don't seem to be choosing it. So they don't push it out as much. So it's kind of a funny thing. So that was my own little mistake. That NVIDIA video probably would have been a lot more popular than it is if I had not messed up and released it at midnight. So it's just one of those things. And that's one of the reasons too that I keep every year I look at where the most of you guys are. And that's one of the reasons I've been slowly moving the release times a little bit later in the day. So, but that's kind of cool. All right, we'll get a little question here from Jonathan. Over the long run, do you think it's better to buy a CDR or convert CAD to USD and buy directly? It really depends on you. If CDR, the thing is CDRs where they come out of some of the big banks, I have full faith in them. I don't think they're actually, I don't think there's any danger of them ever going under that way. I think they're probably just, you know, I'll give you logically, yeah, they're the same. Unless you're doing swing trading or day trading or things like that, then stay away from the CDRs. Um, but I will give you my opinion. My opinion, as I'm one of these people that I don't want to hold the CDR of Microsoft. I want to hold Microsoft. And it's stupid, it's illogical, but it's just kind of that thing. It's like, I want to hold the real thing. I don't want to hold something connected. It's sort of like it's kind of like some people who are like, "Oh, I don't want to hold Bitcoin on a server like well, simple. I need to have the keys in my hand. I need it in my hardware wallet." It's kind of like that, but it's technically not quite that way because you can't really lose your CDR like you could with Bitcoin if you were to lose your keys, for example. But no, they're the same investment wise, math wise. They're the same. They move the same. You will make the same. You should make the same amount of money. Now, this would be kind of fun. You can always take the CDR and take the actual, let's say the Microsoft CDR, and then take Microsoft. And you could always chart from year to date and take a look at the total return and just verify it. But they should be the same. I can't see why. Now I've not actually done that calculation, but now I kind of want to, so I might just have to. Vic says all the CDR stocks make for a nice index in and of itself. Yeah, there are a lot of them. I did a video a while ago where I think I did, I think I revealed about 30 of them. So definitely a lot. Vic says, I bought some Pan W on the dip. Okay. Always, yeah, there's definitely some dips out there today if you want to pick up a few things. Let's see. There's so much misery in the world, but NA markets just rip. Yeah, no, North America, I think North America is doing fine. I mean, look at the U.S. The U.S.'s economy is nice and strong. It's kind of interesting. The U.S. is still struggling with inflation, but their economy is really strong. Canada is struggling with our economy, but our inflation is coming down. Now, I did read some stuff yesterday. There's some people out there thinking that the Bank of Canada might pull the rate cuts sooner than later. Like I've heard people say that there's like about a 30% chance it could happen in April. I'm still sticking to June until the next CPI comes out. If at the next CPI we go down again and inflation really, like let's say last one was 2.9. So if February's came in at, let's say, about 2.7 or lower, I would probably be at that point thinking, okay, maybe these rate cuts are coming a little bit faster. So that's kind of an interesting thing. I had another interesting thought today too, and I posted it on X just because why not? It's only because I think I was like, oh, I haven't been on X now in months. So I went over there and made a quick post. But it was really interesting. If you've ever watched the House of Commons, when they have question period, they always have like their standard answers. Like, the Conservatives have things that they will answer if they're asked a question they don't want to answer, they'll fall back on. And the same thing the Liberals have, that when more the Liberals than anything else, because they normally get hit with a lot of questions. One of the standard questions or answers that Trudeau and the Liberals always used to attack the Conservatives on was that Poilievre said, just buy some Bitcoin. It's a hedge against inflation. And, and he would go on about look at how much you would have lost if you had listened to Poilievre. I've noticed that he's no longer doing that. And one of the things I thought was kind of interesting is that when he was still doing it, Bitcoin was actually starting to do really well. But yet I don't know whether Poilievre just didn't pay attention or was paying attention to the crypto markets, but he could have had some rebuttals there. So just one of those interesting little things there. Not trying to get political, not trying to take sides, but I just found that kind of amusing when we look at that. Oh gosh, we got a lot of interesting stuff coming up pretty soon on the channel. Let's see here. So coming up this week, just so you guys know what's coming up. Of course, we got the 0 to 100K challenge. That's dropping on March 1st. March 5th. You guys liked it the last time I did it, so we're doing it again. It is the bank earnings recap because all the earnings will be out. I think the last of them come out on the 29th. As far as I know, I don't know if there's any on the 1st, but yeah, the 29th, all of the earnings will be out. So I will be doing that recap on that video. We also are going to do, somebody asked for it. They said you should do a battle Hammond, HPS.A versus HMM.A. So we're going to do that. We're not going to do it in the old battle format. I think I'm just going to sort of pull up the two and we'll compare them and sort of talk a little bit about what the difference is between them. Because I think a lot of people don't completely understand what the difference, because there's a lot of similarity in what they do. So we're going to talk about that as well. Also, coming up in middle of March, we'll have another channel member live stream. So I'll be getting votes for what you guys want to talk about on that coming up. We're going to do another ETF deep dive around the middle of the month as well. So we got a whole bunch of stuff coming up, which is good. Now, here's the thing. I want to schedule a special edition, sort of a one-time only, sort of almost like a crypto night in Canada, but not crypto night in Canada. It's just going to be like, I think it'll be this week, crypto night, something like that. And I want to try to get some guests on it and just sort of bring in, maybe 3 or 4 people, and we'll just have this whole, we'll just have a whole discussion on the state of crypto and all of that. Now, I know not everybody loves crypto, and that's cool. Whether you love it or hate it, I think it'll still be some good conversation. Now, I haven't scheduled the date yet, and there's a reason for that. It's because March 18th. March 18th, I have to report to the court for a jury selection. So I don't know what my schedule is going to look like after jury selection. Whether or not that means, I don't know, do any of you guys, hi, please be quiet. Have any of you guys been to jury selection or have been on a jury? Here's my big question. When you go to jury selection, how soon do you end up in a jury if they select you? So that's one question I have. But yeah, that may mess things up. So the end of March could disrupt, if let's say I get put on a murder trial and I'm I spend a month, it's gonna hurt a little bit. We'll have to figure out the schedule. It will cut back on the videos during that time if that happens. As fun as it would be, in a way, I kind of hope. I'm kind of hoping that they think being a YouTuber is just too out there to be on a jury, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. It's hard to say what's going to happen. But yeah, that's all coming up. So, all right, we'll get back here to chat. Vic says, I've been investing outside of North America. And here's a video I really want to do. I want to do a video on international investments, just what options are here, with what options are on the TSX, what options are maybe available through the New York Stock Exchange to get yourself some really good international exposure. And it always almost gets voted up by the channel members. So when we have that opportunity to let them vote on what the video is going to be. So for example, that was one of the ones that almost made it to the video that NVIDIA, the NVIDIA video took. So yeah, it's just one of those things I do want to do. I want to get that done. It's just, I don't want to just do it because it's one of the topics that the channel members just keep on bringing up, and I want to see it get voted through one of these days. So we'll have to see. Vic says, I swear Biden is getting older every day. Yeah. He's you just swear. That's fine. Yeah, no, Biden is up there. And right now, it's pretty much looking like another rematch of Biden versus Trump later this year. We'll have to see how that goes. Once they get into full-on campaign mode, we'll have to see how that goes. That could be very interesting. I look at it this way. When it comes to American politics lately, it doesn't matter which side you support. just that you're going to have an entertaining election. So that's the bare minimum. Is it's probably going to be entertaining. There will probably, you could make a bingo card. Trump will make up nicknames for people. Hit dab it. Trump says something inappropriate, dab it. Biden falls asleep, dab it. There's a lot of different things that could happen. In an ideal world, like if somebody says, who would you prefer, Trump or Biden? I'd be like, who's my third choice? So I'm option 3. I would prefer option 3 on this one. So we'll just have to sort of look at it that way. There we go. Anyway, once again, we had another good little market close. What's this? Maybe Don Cherry can do color for crypto night and can. Don Cherry's getting pretty up there too. Like I heard somebody once say that the stiff collar he uses is simply it's not because he likes it, it's because it holds up his head. I don't know if that's true or not, but it does sound kind of funny. And yeah, exactly. Akadaz says, hard to believe that those are the 2 best candidates in the US to be president. Yeah, I kind of have a feeling that it should be, there should be an age limit, maybe. I hate to, I don't want to be ageist, but, maybe like, maybe say, you know what, if you're old enough to retire, you're too old to be the president. So, and, you could even, you could have a young age limit too. You could say, you need to be between, let's say 40 and 60. I don't know, or 40 and 65. Just a thought. Tell them you had blood clots and can't sit too long. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's always an option. And the funny thing is, like, if for whatever reason I just didn't show up to the jury selection, I can actually get arrested for it. It's hilarious. But no, I'll be there. I'll do whatever they have to do. Chances are it's probably going to be some short little dinky thing where it's like, I'm there for an afternoon as somebody disputes some silly little thing. And then, the group of us get together and we all say, whether we think they're guilty or not guilty or whatever. And I think it'll be a simple thing. I think it'll definitely be simple, but we'll have to see. I will let you guys know because, hey, why wouldn't I? Obviously, if I'm allowed to stream while the trial's happening, I probably won't be allowed to talk about it. And I'll respect those rules, but let me tell you, if I'm allowed to talk about it after the trial is done, I'll tell you guys everything. It's kind of funny. Like I just watched a comedy called Jury Duty. And I was like, yeah, it's probably not going to be like that. But anyway, it'll be interesting. I can't wait. Okay. Anyway, this has been another market close. I think we're done for today. We'll be back here, of course, on the next live stream on Sunday. We'll be back here again next week. And hopefully we got a nice green market. And, we can hope, and we'll see, of course, where Bitcoin is going. Whether I'm going to be eating some crow on that prediction of the all-time high by the weekend. So we'll have to see whether or not I'm eating crow. If we are, I will bring some hot sauce for it because I don't think crow tastes very good otherwise. So until then, everybody, I will talk to you guys later. Take care. Have a fantastic day and make some money on the Bitcoin if you can. Take care, everybody. Bye.